Ji-ho Kim stood at the window of the space shuttle, watching the massive ship grow larger in front of them. The Nexus harmony was beautiful. It looked like a crystal palace floating in space, with smooth curves and bright lights that seemed to dance across its surface. He had never seen anything like it. "First time seeing a Valtharian ship?" asked the pilot, a cheerful woman named Captain Lee. "Yes," Ji-ho replied. His hands were sweating inside his uniform gloves. "It's bigger than I thought it would be," Captain Lee laughed. "Wait until you see the inside. These aliens know how to live in style." Ji-ho nodded but said nothing more. He was nervous about this mission. 3 months ago, he had been a simple soldier in the Earth Defense Force. Now he was going to be a cultural attaché, whatever that meant. The briefing had been confusing. Something about building relationships with alien nobles to help Earth and the Valtharian Empire work together better. The shuttle docked with a soft bump. Ji-ho picked up his small bag and followed Captain Lee through the airlock. The moment he stepped inside the alien ship, he knew he was not on Earth anymore. The walls were made of some kind of smooth, white material that seemed to glow from within. The air smelled like flowers, but not any flowers he knew. Everything was clean and perfect, like a hospital, but somehow beautiful too. Tall aliens in flowing robes walked through the corridors. They looked almost human, but their skin had a blue tint and their eyes were larger and more colorful than human eyes. "Lieutenant Commander Kim?" A voice spoke behind him in perfect Korean. Ji-ho turned around and saw her for the first time. Lady Yuna Velthara was tall, even for a Valtharian. Her skin was pale blue like ice and her long hair was white as snow. But it was her eyes that made Ji-ho freeze. They were deep violet and they seemed to look right through him, as if she could see everything he was thinking. She smiled, and Ji-ho felt a chill run down his spine. "I am Lady Yuna Velthara," she said, bowing slightly. "You are assigned to me, human. Time to fulfill your romantic duties." Her smile grew wider. Ji-ho blinked. "Romantic duties? I think there might be some mistake. I'm here as a cultural attaché." Lady Yuna laughed, a sound like silver bells. "Oh, my dear Ji-ho, may I call you Ji-ho?" "There is no mistake. I specifically requested a human companion for my research. You see, I study emotions and relationships between different species. You will help me understand how humans experience love." "I don't understand," Ji-ho said. His heart was beating fast now. "Nobody told me about any romantic duties. The previous 3 humans assigned to me were inadequate," Lady Yuna continued, walking slowly around him like she was studying a specimen. "The first one, David, was too emotional. He cried when I asked him simple questions about his feelings. The second, Robert, was too logical. He reminded me too much of my own people. The third, Michael, was simply boring." She stopped in front of him and looked directly into his eyes. "But you, Ji-ho Kim, will be different. I can see it already. You have the right balance of emotion and control. You will be perfect for my experiments." "Experiments?" Ji-ho stepped back. "What kind of experiments?" "Nothing harmful, I promise," Lady Yuna said. "I simply want to understand how humans form emotional bonds, how they fall in love, how they experience passion and desire. My people have lost these abilities over the centuries. We approach relationships like mathematical equations now, very efficient but very empty." She gestured for him to follow her down the corridor. "Come, let me show you to your quarters. They are next to mine naturally. We will be spending a great deal of time together." As they walked, Ji-ho noticed other humans in the corridors. Some were with Valtharian companions, talking and laughing. Others looked uncomfortable, like him. He wondered if they all had similar assignments. "How many humans are on this ship?" he asked. 47, including you," Lady Yuna replied. "Each one is paired with a Valtharian noble or official. It is part of a new program to improve relations between our species. Very ambitious, very expensive, and very important." They stopped at a door that slid open silently. The room inside was larger than Ji-ho's entire apartment back on Earth. The bed was huge, covered in soft fabrics that looked like they cost more than his yearly salary. There was a window that showed the stars outside and a desk with what looked like alien computers. "This is your room," Lady Yuna said. "Mine is just next door. There is a connecting door, see?" She pointed to a door on the far wall. "Very convenient for our work together." Ji-ho set down his bag and tried to process everything. "Lady Yuna, I need to be honest with you. I don't know anything about romance or relationships. I'm a soldier. I follow orders and protect people. That's what I'm good at." Lady Yuna's smile softened for the first time since they met. That is exactly why you are perfect, Jiho. You are honest. You are genuine. These are qualities my people have forgotten how to value. She moved closer to him and he could smell her perfume. It was sweet but strange, like nothing on earth. I am not asking you to pretend to love me, Jiho. I am asking you to teach me what love really means, to show me how humans experience real emotion, not the calculated responses my people have learned to mimic. And if I refuse? Jiho asked. Lady Yuna's violet eyes grew cold for a moment. Then you will be sent back to Earth and your mission will be marked as a failure. Your superiors will not be pleased. The warmth returned to her voice.
But I do not think you will refuse.
You are curious about me, are you not? I can see it in your eyes. Jiho wanted to deny it, but she was right. Despite his fear and confusion, he was curious about this beautiful, strange alien woman. There was something about her that drew him in, even though every instinct told him to be careful. What exactly do you want me to do? He asked. For now, just be yourself, Lady Yuna said. Tomorrow we will begin with simple exercises. Conversations about your past relationships, your dreams, your fears. I want to understand how human emotions work. And in time, perhaps we will discover something wonderful together. She moved toward the connecting door. Rest well, Jiho Kim. Tomorrow, your real mission begins. As the door closed behind her, Jiho sat on the enormous bed and looked out at the stars. He had thought this assignment would be about diplomacy and cultural exchange. He had never imagined he would be part of an alien woman's experiment in learning how to love. But as he replayed their conversation in his mind, he realized that Lady Yuna might not be the only one who would learn something new. For the first time in his life, Jiho was completely out of his depth, and somehow that felt like the beginning of an adventure. Jiho woke up to soft music playing from somewhere in the walls. The room was filled with gentle blue light that felt like morning sunshine, even though they were in space. He had slept better than expected considering how strange everything was. A soft chime sounded and Lady Yuna's voice came through a speaker. Good morning, Jiho. Please join me for breakfast in 20 minutes. Wear something comfortable. Jiho showered in what had to be the most advanced bathroom he had ever seen. The water felt perfect and the soap smelled like fresh rain. When he came out, he found new clothes laid out on his bed. They were soft and comfortable, clearly made by Valtharian technology, but designed to look like Earth fashion. He found Lady Yuna waiting for him in a small dining room next to her quarters. She was wearing a simple blue dress that made her look less alien and more beautiful. The thought surprised him. Did you sleep well? She asked, gesturing for him to sit across from her. Yes, thank you. Jiho looked at the food on the table. Some of it looked familiar, like fruit and bread. Other dishes were completely alien. You didn't have to get me new clothes. I wanted you to be comfortable, Lady Yuna said. Today we begin our first compatibility assessment. Think of it as getting to know each other. Assessment? Jiho picked up what looked like an apple but tasted like strawberries and chocolate. That sounds very scientific. Everything my people do is scientific, Lady Yuna admitted. We measure, we analyze, we calculate. It is how we lost our ability to feel real emotions. We turned love into mathematics. As they ate, Lady Yuna asked him questions about his childhood, his family, his dreams. But Jiho noticed she was also doing other things. She had a small device on her wrist that seemed to be recording everything. Her eyes would focus on his face in a way that felt more like studying than listening. Lady Yuna, Jiho said finally, are you running tests on me right now? She looked surprised, then slightly embarrassed. Yes, I am measuring your stress levels, your heart rate, your facial expressions. I am sorry. It is automatic for me now. Can you turn it off? The devices? No, the scientific part. Can you just talk to me like a person, not a test subject? Lady Yuna was quiet for a long moment. I do not know how, she said softly. This is all I know how to do. After breakfast, Lady Yuna took him on a tour of the ship. The Nexus Harmony was huge with gardens, libraries, laboratories, and recreation areas. Everywhere they went, Jiho saw other humans with their Valtharian partners. Some pairs seemed to be getting along well. Others looked uncomfortable. In the central garden, they met Minho Park, a human engineer from Seoul. He was sitting alone on a bench, looking frustrated. Minho. Jiho called out in Korean. How are you doing? Minho looked up and smiled with relief. Jiho, thank goodness, another Korean. This place is driving me crazy. Lady Yuna stepped back politely while the two men talked. Who are you paired with? Jiho asked. General Kale Morden, Minho said. A military strategist. He treats every conversation like a battle plan. Yesterday he asked me to explain human tactical emotions. I told him about gut feelings and intuition, and he just stared at me like I was speaking nonsense. At least he's not trying to measure your romantic responses, Jiho said. Minho laughed. What? My partner, Lady Yuna, is studying human emotions. She wants to learn about love by experimenting on me. That's weird, but maybe not as bad as my situation. General Kale asked me to help him understand why human soldiers fight harder when they're protecting their friends. He thinks emotions make us weak, but he's curious about why weak humans keep winning battles against stronger opponents. Their conversation was interrupted by a young woman approaching them. She had short black hair and looked tired. Are you two talking about your assignments? She asked in Korean. I'm Somin Lee. I heard Korean and hoped. Yes, join us, Jiho said. What's your situation? I'm with Trade Minister Varanelthon, Somin said, sitting on the bench. She wants to understand human negotiation techniques, but every time I try to explain about reading body language or building personal relationships, she takes notes like I'm giving her a lecture. Yesterday, she asked me to demonstrate how humans use emotions to manipulate business deals. They really don't understand us, do they? Minho said. No, Lady Yuna said quietly. She had been listening from a distance. We do not. The three humans turned to look at her. Lady Yuna approached slowly, like she was afraid they might run away. I apologize for listening, she said, but I wanted to understand how humans communicate with each other. You are so natural together, so easy with your emotions. It's not something we think about, Somin said. We just feel things and express them. But how? Lady Yuna asked. How do you know what to feel? How do you know if your feelings are correct? Feelings aren't correct or incorrect, Jiho said. They just are. Lady Yuna looked confused. But how do you make decisions based on feelings? How do you know if someone is compatible with you romantically? There must be some system, some measurement. Sometimes you just know, Minho said. When I met my girlfriend back home, I knew within an hour that I wanted to spend my life with her. Not because of any test or measurement. Just because being with her felt right. Felt right, Lady Yuna repeated slowly. But what does that mean? The three humans looked at each other. How do you explain feelings to someone who has never really had them? It's like, Jiho searched for the right words. It's like being hungry. You don't measure your hunger scientifically. You just know you're hungry and you know when you're satisfied. But hunger serves a biological function, Lady Yuna said. Love seems more complicated. Maybe that's the problem, Somin said gently. You're trying to make it complicated. Love is simple. You care about someone more than yourself. You want them to be happy. You want to share your life with them. Lady Yuna was quiet for a long time. My people used to love like that, she said finally. Thousands of years ago. But we evolved past it. We thought emotions were primitive, inefficient. We created systems to match compatible partners based on genetic analysis and personality profiles, very effective for producing offspring and maintaining stable households. But not very happy, Jiho guessed. No, Lady Yuna admitted. Not very happy. Our birth rates have been declining for centuries. Marriages end not in divorce, but in mutual agreement that the partnership is no longer optimal. Children are raised by experts, not by parents who love them passionately. She looked at Jiho with those violet eyes. That is why you are here. All of you. We hope that by studying humans we can remember what we lost. But perhaps we are approaching it wrong. Perhaps you cannot measure love. Perhaps you must simply experience it. That's the idea, Jiho said. But are you willing to stop analyzing and start feeling? I do not know if I can, Lady Yuna said honestly. It is frightening to give up control, to trust in something you cannot measure or predict. That's what makes it an adventure, Minho said. As they talked, alarms suddenly began sounding throughout the ship. Red lights flashed and Valtharian voices announced something in their own language. Lady Yuna's expression changed completely. Emergency signal, she said, all business now. We must return to quarters immediately. What kind of emergency? Jiho asked. Distress call from human colonies. Something is attacking them. As they hurried through the corridors, Jiho saw other human Valtharian pairs looking confused and worried. Whatever was happening, it was big enough to interrupt their diplomatic mission. In Lady Yuna's quarters, they watched news feeds on her wall screen. The images were terrible. Human cities under attack by something that looked like black clouds. Ships being destroyed not by weapons but by some kind of energy drain that left them dark and empty. What are those things? Soman asked. Lady Yuna's face was pale. Devourers, she whispered. We thought they were extinct. They feed on life energy, especially emotional energy. They nearly destroyed my people centuries ago before we learned to suppress our emotions. Jiho felt a chill. Are you saying your people became emotionally cold to protect yourselves from these things? Yes, it worked. The Devourers left us alone when we stopped producing the energy they needed. But humans, Minho started. Humans produce more emotional energy than any species we have ever encountered. Lady Yuna finished. You are like beacons to them. They will not stop until they have consumed every human in the galaxy. The three humans looked at each other with new understanding. This mission wasn't just about cultural exchange. Earth needed the Valtharians' help to survive. And maybe, just maybe, the Valtharians needed human emotions more than they realized. Outside the window, stars began to move as the Nexus Harmony changed course, heading toward the distress signals and whatever horrors awaited them there. The Nexus Harmony arrived at the human colony of New Sol 3 days later. What they found made everyone on the ship go silent. The planet below was dark. Not the darkness of night, but the complete absence of light and life. Cities that should have been glowing with millions of lights were black shadows on the surface. Jiho stood next to Lady Yuna in the ship's observation deck, watching the rescue shuttles return from the planet. Each shuttle carried survivors, but not many. Out of 3 million people on New Sol, fewer than 50,000 had survived. How is this possible? Jiho asked. Our colony ships have shields, weapons, defense systems. The Devourers do not attack technology, Lady Yuna explained quietly. They attack life itself. They drain the energy that powers living beings. When a person dies this way, all the machines around them stop working too, because there is no life force to power them. Captain Hyun Cho of the human fleet flagship approached them. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. Jiho had served under him before and knew him to be a good leader. Lady Yuna, Captain Cho said with a polite bow. We need to talk. My xenobiology team has discovered something important. They moved to a private meeting room where other human and Valtharian leaders were gathered. Minho and Somin were there too, along with their alien partners. Show them the recording, Captain Cho said to his aide. A holographic display showed security footage from New Sol. The Devourers looked like living shadows, flowing across the ground and through the air. When they touched buildings full of people, the lights went out. When they flowed over crowds, people collapsed and never got up again. But then something strange happened in the recording. A group of human soldiers were making a last stand in a school, protecting children who were hiding inside. When the Devourers reached them, something stopped the shadow creatures. They could not get close to the building. What stopped them? General Kyle Mordon Osket. He was Minho's partner, a large Valtharian with scars on his blue face. Emotions, Captain Cho said. Strong, genuine emotions. The soldiers were terrified, yes, but they were also filled with love for the children they were protecting, anger at the creatures attacking their world, hope that someone would come to save them. The Devourers could not feed on that energy. That is impossible, Lady Yuna said. Devourers consume emotional energy. It is their food. Not this kind, Captain Cho continued. Our scientists think there are different types of emotional energy. The Devourers can only feed on certain kinds. Fear, despair, loneliness, anger without purpose. But love, hope, courage, the emotions that connect people to each other, those seem to repel them. Jiho looked at Lady Yuna. Is that why your people survived by becoming emotionally cold? You stopped producing the kind of energy they could eat? But we also stopped producing the kind that could protect us, Lady Yuna realized. We made ourselves safe, but also defenseless. The humans are different, General Kale said, looking at Minho with something like respect. Yesterday, Minho explained to me why human soldiers fight harder when they are protecting their comrades. I thought emotion made them weak. But I was wrong. Their emotions make them strong in ways we cannot measure. Trade Minister Vara Nelthon, Soman's partner, nodded. Soman showed me how humans build trust in business through personal connections. I thought it was inefficient. But now I see that these connections create something more valuable than efficiency. Captain Cho activated another display. We have more bad news. Long-range sensors show Devourer fleets moving toward Earth and other human colonies. Billions of lives are at risk. But we also have an opportunity. The display showed technical drawings of some kind of device. Our engineers have been working with Valtharian technology experts, Captain Cho continued. We think we can create weapons that use emotional energy as a power source. But they will only work if the emotions are genuine and strong. What do you need from us? Jiho asked. The human Valtharian pairs on this ship represent our best hope, Captain Cho said. You have been learning to work together, to understand each other. If you can form real bonds, real partnerships, you might be able to power these weapons. Admiral Rena Corveth, the Valtharian fleet commander, spoke for the first time. She was an imposing woman with silver hair and cold eyes. This is dangerous thinking. Emotions are chaotic, unpredictable. They led my people to near extinction once before. We survived by controlling them, not by embracing them. With respect, Admiral, Jiho said. Your people survived, but did they live? Lady Yuna told me about your declining birth rates, your empty marriages, your children raised by machines instead of loving parents. Maybe survival isn't enough. Admiral Corveth's eyes flashed with anger. You dare lecture me about the choices my people made to survive? No, Jiho said calmly. I'm suggesting that maybe it's time to try living again. The room fell silent. Then alarms began sounding again. This time they were under attack. The ship shook as devourer energy blasts hit the shields. Through the windows they could see the shadow creatures in space flowing like liquid darkness between the stars. All human Valtharian pairs to defensive positions, Captain Cho ordered. Time to test our theories. Jiho and Lady Yuna ran through the corridors toward their assigned station. The ship shook again, harder this time. Emergency lights flashed red and they could hear the screech of metal under stress. I am frightened, Lady Yuna said as they ran. That's normal, Jiho replied. Fear keeps you alive, but I am also excited? Is that the right word? I feel like we are about to discover something important. Jiho looked at her in surprise. You're feeling hope. Hope? Lady Yuna repeated the word like she was tasting something new. Yes, I think I am. They reached their station just as the ship's hull was breached. A section of the corridor behind them collapsed, trapping them in a small maintenance room. The lights went out and emergency air systems kicked in. We're trapped, Jiho said, checking his communicator. No signal. In the darkness, Lady Yuna began to shake. I cannot breathe. The walls are too close. I cannot... Hey, Jiho said softly, reaching for her in the dark. I'm here. You're not alone. I have never been in the dark before, Lady Yuna whispered. Valtharian ships always have light, always. Jiho found her hand and held it. Her skin was cold and smooth, but her grip was strong. It's okay to be scared. I'm scared too. You are? Of course. We might die in here, but we're together and that makes it better somehow. Lady Yuna was quiet for a moment. I do not understand how being together makes danger less frightening. Because when you care about someone, you're not just worried about yourself anymore, Jiho explained. You want to protect them. You want to comfort them. It gives you strength you didn't know you had. Is this what love feels like? Lady Yuna asked. This wanting to protect someone even when you are in danger yourself? It's part of it, Jiho said, along with wanting to share good things with them, missing them when they're gone, feeling happy just because they're happy. As they sat in the darkness, Jiho told Lady Yuna about his childhood, his family, his dreams for the future. She told him about her research, her loneliness in a world where everyone thought emotions were weakness, her secret wish to feel the things she studied. I wanted to understand love scientifically, she said, but I think I was approaching it wrong. You cannot measure love. You can only experience it. Are you experiencing it now? Jiho asked. I think so, Lady Yuna said softly. I care more about your safety than my own. I want to see you smile again. I want to share more stories with you. Is that love? It's the beginning of love, Jiho said. Suddenly, a warm glow began to fill the room. It seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Lady Yuna gasped. What is happening? She asked. Jiho looked around in wonder. I think we're creating it. The light. It's coming from us, from what we're feeling. The glow grew brighter and they could hear the screeching sounds of devourers retreating. Through a crack in the wall, they could see the shadow creatures flowing away from their section of the ship. They cannot feed on this, Lady Yuna whispered in amazement. They cannot consume love. No, Jiho agreed. Love fights back. Hours later, rescue teams found them still sitting together in the glowing room. The Devourers had retreated from the entire ship, repelled by the emotional energy created by human Valtharian pairs all over the vessel. As they were helped back to safety, Lady Yuna held Jiho's hand tightly. "I understand now," she said. "Love is not weakness. It is the strongest force in the galaxy." "Strong enough to save both our worlds," Jiho said. But even as they celebrated their discovery, Admiral Korveth was making plans to end the human program. She saw the changes in her people not as growth but as contamination. The battle for the future of both species was just beginning. Lady Yuna was different after their time trapped together. Jiho noticed it immediately when he woke up the next morning. Instead of the calculated politeness she had shown before, she greeted him with genuine warmth. Her smile reached her violet eyes now, and when she spoke to him, she focused completely on his words instead of on her measuring devices. "Good morning." "Jiho," she said, setting down breakfast on the table between their rooms. "I made human-style coffee. I wanted to try making something just because it would make you happy, not because I needed to study your reaction." Jiho tasted the coffee and smiled. It was terrible, bitter and too strong, but the effort behind it made it the best coffee he had ever had. "It's perfect," he said, and meant it. Lady Yuna laughed, a real laugh instead of her old careful, calculated responses. "You are lying to spare my feelings, but I appreciate the kindness. I will practice more." "Yuna," Jiho said, using her name without the title for the first time. "Are you happy?" She considered the question seriously. "Yes, I think I am." "Is this what happiness feels like? This warm feeling like sunshine inside your chest?" "That's exactly what it feels like." Their conversation was interrupted by urgent knocking at the door. Minho and Somin burst in, both looking excited and worried at the same time. "Have you heard what's happening?" Minho asked in Korean. "Other Valtharian nobles are asking their human partners to teach them about emotions too," Somin said. "But Admiral Korveth is furious. She's calling it contamination." Lady Yuna's expression darkened. "Admiral Korveth believes emotions destroyed our civilization once. She will not allow what she sees as the same mistake to happen again." "But you're not making a mistake," Jiho said. "You're fixing one." "That is not how she sees it," Lady Yuna replied. "To her I am becoming primitive, unreliable, dangerous." As if summoned by their words, Lady Yuna's communication device chimed. Admiral Korveth's face appeared on the screen, her expression cold and angry. "Lady Yuna," the Admiral said without greeting, "report to my office immediately. Bring your human." The Admiral's office was large and intimidating, with walls covered in military honors and historical artifacts. Admiral Korveth sat behind a massive desk, studying data displays that showed emotional energy readings from around the ship. "Lady Yuna," the Admiral said without looking up, "your emotional output has increased by 400% in the past week. Your decision-making patterns have become erratic. Your scientific objectivity has been compromised." "I have become more effective, not less," Lady Yuna replied. "My research has advanced more in 1 week than in the previous year." "Your research was to study human emotions, not to adopt them," Admiral Korveth snapped. "You were supposed to maintain scientific distance." "Scientific distance was the problem," Jiho said. "You can't understand emotions by measuring them from the outside. You have to experience them." Admiral Korveth finally looked at him, her blue eyes like ice. "Human, you were brought here to provide information, not to corrupt our people with your chaotic impulses." "Is caring about each other really chaotic?" Jiho asked. "Is wanting to protect the people you love really corruption?" "Yes," Admiral Korveth said firmly. "Love led to wars, jealousy, irrational decisions that nearly destroyed us. We evolved past these weaknesses. We will not go backward." "What about the Devourers?" Lady Yuna asked. "Our emotional connections are the only defense against them." "We will find a technological solution," Admiral Korveth replied. "We always do. Meanwhile, the human program is terminated. All humans will be returned to Earth immediately." "You can't do that," Jiho said. "Earth needs Valtharian technology to defend against the Devourers. And your people need to remember how to feel if they want to survive as more than just machines." "I can and I will." Admiral Korveth stood up. "Guards will escort you to detention quarters. All humans are to be isolated from Valtharian personnel until transport can be arranged." Jiho looked at Lady Yuna. In her eyes he saw fear, anger, and determination. She was going to fight this, and so was he. "Admiral, Lady Yuna said formally. I request permission to continue my research independently. Denied. You are relieved of all duties pending psychological evaluation. Then I resign my commission. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Admiral Corveth's face showed the first real emotion Jiho had seen from her. Shock. You cannot resign in the middle of a crisis, the Admiral said. I can and I do, Lady Yuna replied. I choose love over fear, Admiral. I choose growth over stagnation. I choose to stand with the humans. Then you choose to be a traitor to your own species. No, Lady Yuna said sadly. I choose to save it. The guards moved to arrest them, but Jiho was ready. His military training kicked in, and he disarmed the first guard while Lady Yuna activated some kind of device that disabled the others. They ran from the office, alarms sounding behind them. Where can we go? Jiho asked as they raced through the corridors. Engineering deck, Lady Yuna said. Daeho Jang and Yunji Velmira have been working on the emotion-powered weapons. If we can reach them, they found the engineering deck in chaos. Daeho, a quiet human engineer from Busan, was arguing with his Viletharian partner Yunji while security forces surrounded them. The device works, Daeho was saying. We can create shield generators powered by emotional energy, but only if human Veltharian teams work together. Impossible, one of the Veltharian officers replied. Emotions are too unstable to power critical systems. Not unstable, Yunji corrected.
Powerful.
When Daeho and I work together, when we trust each other completely, the energy output is incredible. Jiho and Lady Yuna slipped into the crowd around the demonstration. On a work table, a small device was glowing with the same warm light they had created when they were trapped together. Show them, Daeho said to Yunji. Yunji looked nervous, but she nodded. She and Daeho stood on opposite sides of the device and joined hands. The glow intensified and suddenly a shield of light appeared around them. When security officers tried to approach, the shield pushed them back gently but firmly. The emotional energy creates a protective field, Yunji explained. It feeds on the connection between partners, on their shared trust and care for each other. It could protect entire cities, Daeho added. But only if we work together. Only if Veltharians are willing to form real emotional bonds with humans. Unacceptable, the security chief said. By order of Admiral Corveth, all humans are to be detained. This experiment is over. No, said a new voice. It's just beginning. Minho stepped forward, followed by General Kale. Behind them came Soman and Trade Minister Vara. Then dozens of other human Veltharian pairs. General, the security chief said uncertainly. Admiral Corveth's orders are wrong, General Kale said firmly. I have spent days learning from Minho about human military tactics. Their emotional bonds make them stronger, not weaker. A human soldier will fight 10 times harder to protect a friend than to follow orders. And human business practices are more effective because they build real relationships, Trade Minister Vara added. Soman taught me that trust is more valuable than any contract. One by one, the Veltharian nobles declared their support for their human partners. They had tasted real emotion, real connection, and they would not go back to their cold, calculating existence. This is mutiny, the security chief said. This is evolution, Lady Yuna replied. Suddenly, new alarms began sounding. The ship's external sensors were detecting massive devourer fleets approaching Earth and the Veltharian homeworld simultaneously. The two most emotional species in the galaxy were under attack at the same time. Captain Hyon Cho's voice came over the ship's communication system. All personnel to battle stations. We have incoming distress calls from both Earth and Velthara Prime. The Devourers have found us. In the chaos that followed, Admiral Corveth arrived with a full security team. But when she saw the scope of the crisis, 2 worlds under attack, her own officers siding with the humans, and the only effective weapons requiring emotional energy, she hesitated. Admiral, Lady Yuna said, you can arrest us all and watch both our worlds die. Or you can trust that love is stronger than fear. That connection is more powerful than isolation. Admiral Corveth looked at the displays showing the approaching Devourer fleets. Her mathematical mind calculated the odds of survival using conventional weapons. The numbers were not good. What do you need? She asked finally. Time, Jiho said. And trust. You have both, Admiral Corveth said. May whatever gods are watching forgive me if I'm wrong. But as the ship prepared for the greatest battle in galactic history, Jiho knew they weren't wrong. Love had already proven stronger than the Devourers once. Now it was time to prove it could save the galaxy. The final battle began with the darkening of two worlds. Jiho watched from the bridge of the Nexus Harmony as Earth appeared on the main screen. His home planet was half covered in shadow, where Devourer fleets had begun their assault. Cities that had shone like jewels just hours before were going dark one by one. On another screen, the Valtharian homeworld of Valthara Prime showed the same terrifying sight. Estimated time until complete consumption of both worlds, Admiral Corveth announced, her voice steady despite everything. 72 hours. Captain Yan Cho stood next to her, both commanders working together for the first time. Our fleets are in position around both worlds. Conventional weapons are having minimal effect. The emotion-powered shields are working, Diho reported from his engineering station. But we need more pairs, more connections. We can't protect two entire worlds with just the 47 human Valtharian teams we have. Lady Yuna moved to stand beside Jiho. There is a way, she said quietly, but it requires something that has never been attempted before. What? Jiho asked. A galaxy-wide emotional connection. Every human and every Valtharian, linked together through shared feeling. It would create an energy field so powerful that the Devourers could not survive in this region of space. Admiral Corveth overheard. Impossible. You're talking about billions of people across hundreds of worlds. How could they all be connected? Through the quantum communication network, Lady Yuna explained. If we broadcast the right frequency, we can link every human and Valtharian mind. But it only works if the emotions are genuine. People must choose to connect, choose to care about strangers they will never meet. And if it fails? Captain Cho asked. Then both our species die, Lady Yuna said simply. Jiho looked at the screens showing the dying worlds. What do you need us to do? The human Valtharian pairs on this ship will serve as transmission points, Lady Yuna explained. You will broadcast your emotional connections across the galaxy. Others will feel what you feel and choose whether to join the network. It has to be real, Daiho added from his station. No pretending, no acting. The connections between partners must be genuine love, genuine trust. Jiho took Lady Yuna's hand. Are you ready? I am terrified, she admitted, but also hopeful. Is that strange? That's human, Jiho said with a smile. One by one, the human Valtharian pairs took their positions around the ship. Minyo and General Kale stood together in the military section, their friendship forged through shared respect and understanding. Soman and Trade Minister Vara positioned themselves in the communications center, their bond built on mutual trust and cultural exchange. Beginning transmission, Lady Yuna announced. The ship's quantum transmitters activated, sending out a signal unlike any ever broadcast. It carried not words or images, but pure emotion. The love between Jiho and Lady Yuna, the friendship between Minho and General Kale, the trust between Somin and Trade Minister Vara. Dozens of connections, each unique, each genuine, each powerful. On Earth, humans stopped what they were doing as they felt the signal. A construction worker in Seoul suddenly understood that there were aliens millions of miles away who cared about his survival. A teacher in New York felt the love between species and knew that humanity was not alone in the universe. A farmer in Brazil experienced the friendship between human and Valtharian soldiers and chose to add his own hope to the growing network. On Valthara Prime, something even more remarkable happened. Valtharians who had not felt genuine emotion in centuries suddenly remembered what it was like to care. A scientist in the capital felt Lady Yuna's joy in learning to love and chose to open her own heart. A government official experienced the trust between Somin and Trade Minister Vara and decided to reach out to his estranged family. A military commander felt the bonds between human and Valtharian soldiers and understood that strength came not from isolation, but from connection. The network is growing, Deho reported, his voice filled with wonder. Millions of connections, tens of millions. The energy readings are off the charts. On the screens they could see the effect. Around Earth, a glow was beginning to form. The same warm light that had protected Jiho and Lady Yuna in their trapped compartment. The Devourer fleet slowed, then stopped their advance. Valthara Prime is showing the same phenomenon, Admiral Corveth reported. The emotional energy is repelling the Devourers. But the battle was not over. The largest Devourer hive ship, a creature the size of a moon, emerged from the dark space between galaxies. It began moving toward the network, trying to break through the emotional barrier through sheer size and power. "It's too big," Captain Cho said. "The network can't stop something that massive." Jiho felt Lady Yuna's hand tighten in his. "Yes, it can," she said. "But someone has to get close enough to touch it directly, to show it what love really is." "That's suicide," Admiral Korveth said. "No," Lady Yuna replied. "That's sacrifice, the most powerful emotion of all." Before anyone could stop her, Lady Yuna broke away from Jiho and ran toward the shuttle bay. Jiho raced after her, his heart pounding with fear and determination. "Yuna, wait." She stopped at the shuttle and turned to face him. "I have to do this, Jiho. My people created this mess by abandoning emotion. I have to fix it. Then I'm coming with you. No, if we both die, who will continue the research? Who will help our peoples learn to love?" Jiho pulled her into his arms. "We go together or not at all. That's what love means, remember? Protecting each other." Lady Yuna looked into his eyes and saw the same determination she felt. Together then, they climbed into the shuttle and launched toward the massive hive ship. Behind them, the emotional network continued to grow stronger as billions of humans and Valtharians chose connection over isolation. As they approached the hive ship, its surface writhed and twisted, trying to drain their life energy, but the love between Jiho and Lady Yuna created a protective field around their shuttle. They landed on the creature's surface and stepped out into space, their emotional bond keeping them alive in the vacuum. "Now what?" Jiho asked. "Now we teach it what it's been missing," Lady Yuna said. They placed their hands on the hive ship's surface. Immediately they felt its hunger, its desperate need for emotional energy. But they also felt something else, loneliness. The Devourers were not evil. They were starving creatures that had never learned the difference between consuming emotion and sharing it. Instead of fighting the hive ship's attempt to drain them, Jiho and Lady Yuna shared their love freely. They showed it the joy of discovery, the comfort of friendship, the strength of sacrifice, the warmth of connection. They taught it that emotion was not food to be consumed, but energy to be shared. The hive ship shuddered, then began to glow with the same warm light that protected the two worlds. Across the galaxy, other Devourer ships stopped their attacks as they felt the change in their leader. "It's working," Lady Yuna whispered. "They're learning." The massive creature began to transform, its dark surface becoming bright and welcoming. The Devourers were not disappearing. They were becoming something new. Creatures that fed not on consumed emotion but on shared joy, love, and connection. Jiho and Lady Yuna found themselves back on their shuttle, somehow alive and unhurt. Around them, the galaxy sparkled with new light as billions of beings chose love over fear, connection over isolation. "We did it," Jiho said in amazement. "No," Lady Yuna corrected, smiling through tears of joy. "We all did it. Every human who chose to trust. Every Valtharian who chose to feel. Every being who decided that love is stronger than fear." 1 year later, Jiho and Lady Yuna stood on the observation deck of New Harmony Station, the first joint human-Valtharian colony. Below them, children of both species played together in gardens that bloomed with flowers from two worlds. "Do you ever regret giving up your scientific approach to emotions?" Jiho asked. Lady Yuna leaned against him, watching a human child teach a young Valtharian how to laugh. "Science taught me to measure love," she said. "But you taught me to live it." There is no comparison. The former Devourers, now called Gardeners, moved peacefully through the galaxy, helping other species learn to share emotional energy instead of hoarding it. The network that had saved two worlds had grown into something even greater, a galactic community based on connection, understanding, and love. Admiral Korveth, now retired, visited often. She had become something of a grandmother figure to the colony's children, teaching them Valtharian history while learning human games from them. "Was I wrong to resist the changes at first?" she asked Jiho one day. "You were protecting your people the only way you knew how," Jiho replied. "Fear is natural, but love is stronger." The stars shone brighter now, filled with worlds where different species lived and worked together. The galaxy had learned the greatest lesson humanity had to teach: that connection is more powerful than isolation, that love is stronger than fear, and that the best way to survive is to care for each other. Jiho and Lady Yuna's love story had become a legend, told on 1,000 worlds. But for them it was just the beginning. Every day brought new discoveries, new connections, New reasons to believe that the universe was a better place when different peoples chose to understand each other. The human-Valtharian partnership had saved the galaxy not through superior weapons or advanced